Well, a fine good afternoon, everyone. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. Oh, I see a beautiful cemetery in front of us. I think we should go check it out. Before I tell you where I am, or which cemetery this is, I do want to mention that I am at 97 subscribers. Wow! Do you know what happens when I hit 100? Some of you do. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I'll be offering a special video on a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes for me to produce a video for you. Let's start with the, those things that happen when filming. Equipment failures, Patricia failures. It's tiring to say Patricia failures, but my gosh, it's so true. Our fellow human beings, a small percentage of them who just do stupid things. I know I need to reframe my thinking around some of them as just stupid antics, but some, though, had to wonder, how do they get through the rest of their day or life, given how they treat me or behave around me? I don't understand it. I don't think you will either, to be honest. So, but I'm always interested in what you folks think. How do I decide what to record for you? You might be interested in that. I used to do it one way, and now I do it another. I sometimes revisit the elements of the first way. In fact, I may do that this weekend. I think it's supposed to be somewhat nice. It's 38 degrees Fahrenheit here, and but the wind chill makes it feel like 31 degrees. I do know, because I don't know, here in the U.S. we don't use the metric system. Old white men running the country, still, but back in the 70s as well. And we should have switched when the rest of the world did, but no. Anyway, so I don't know too much about the metric system, but I will say that 32 degrees Fahrenheit equals 0 degrees Celsius. So it is. It feels like 31 degrees Fahrenheit. So about 0 degrees Celsius. And I have to say, I've switched to my winter ball cap, baseball cap, which has ear flaps. Oh, it's very stylish. Said no one in their right mind. And but it is warm. I'll go for warm. I'm also wearing my winter down coat. I'm finally actually warm outside. Finally. I've been cold for ages. And I do have one of my gloves on. I guess I'm pulling on Michael Jackson. But I can't take photographs wearing my other glove because it doesn't recognize that I'm pressing any buttons. Or, pressing sort of buttons on the screen. But there's that. And the other is a public service announcement. I was walking in the East Burying Ground, also known as Bradley Cemetery, in Charlotte, Vermont, on Saturday. It was in the upper 40s, raining. It was a miserable rainy day. And it had been in the 30s at night, traipsing around on all these leaves with headstones buried in them. I stepped on a headstone too. I'm so sorry. My apologies to the person. That person likely doesn't care, of course, but I do. So that was Saturday, 2:30 in the afternoon. Sunday night, I'm at home, minding my own business, sitting in my recliner. And I feel this itchy sort of feeling, and another thing as well. I really couldn't tell you what it felt like in that moment. Lifted up my shirt, and oh my God, there's this little black spider on me. I'm afraid of spiders, so I'd be glad you didn't hear the freak out that ensued. But so I grabbed the Kleenex and pinched the living daylights out of it because I have an excellent pinch grip for spiders in Kleenex. I pulled the Kleenex away, looked at the Kleenex to make sure it was dead, and it wasn't there. How could it not be there? And then looking at my skin again, I realized the darn thing is still on me. That's what? What is this? So I reached out again with a Kleenex and grab it again, and this time pull on it, but realize I think it's attached to me. This is not spider behavior I'm aware of. So I pulled straight out away from my body and continued to pull until it felt it maybe release. Because the feeling I realized was sort of like a burrowing in, which was something I had never felt before. So as I took that thing to the toilet and dropped it in, those black legs were running like crazy still as I flushed it. Bye-bye. Looked it up on the internet. Turns out that was a tick. A black-legged tick, also known as a deer tick. Those are the kind that spread Lyme disease. Called my doc the next morning, and because it was less than 36 hours, they weren't too worried about it. Just have to watch for flu symptoms or the bullseye that can appear anywhere in the skin, not just the mark where the tick was. So kind of interesting, and that's my public service announcement. It's also on my Traveling for History page on Facebook and my website, travelingforhistory.com or travelingforhistory.org. Either one of those addresses will get you there. So just be mindful if you're going to traipse around the leaves. Even now, you could get a tick on you. Ick to ticks. It ticked me off, shall we say. All right, on that lovely note, on to the cemetery. I'm here in Charlotte, Vermont today, and this is the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cemetery. And let me tell you a little bit about it. The first burial here was in 1857. And they are still allowing, as I understand it, that they still have a few more plots available if you would like to be buried here. You'd need to check with them, of course. The cemetery behind the church itself charts the births and deaths of many of the church's earliest members, with names such as Raftery, Dufresne and Lessort. The largest stone belongs to the Quinlan family, erected to honor John Quinlan, the man who led a group of 30 Catholic families in the building of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and that's a Catholic church. John Quinlan was a prosperous farmer and devout Catholic. He came to Charlotte in 1844, starting out by chopping wood and selling it for 25 cents a cord. He saved enough money for a down payment on 240 acres of land near Lewis Creek. As he could, he purchased more land until eventually his holdings totaled 1,100 acres. You may have heard the name Quinlan before. I have a video on YouTube on the Quinlan's covered bridge, named because of the person who had owned the land around it. So you may want to check it out. It is live on my channel as we speak, or I guess as I speak, and you're wondering, let's go take a look-see at these headstones. What a great idea. And also just want to point out, there is a parking lot light right here. And this is the first time I have ever seen any sort of lighting near a cemetery. Because otherwise, once the light is out, once the sun has gone down, rather, can't see diddly squat. So, and once the snow comes and lays down its blanket, I won't be able to walk through cemeteries anymore. It won't be safe. But, and it's always interesting, isn't it? We call it a blanket of snow. But then again, the dead are usually talked about as being in repose or sleeping. Let's start over here. Oh, look at that. Look at that ground over here. Oh, that's not pleasant looking. It rained yesterday a lot, so be mindful of that. I do not want to step in a quagmire. No boots. Ooh, I don't wear boots. The cemetery, you can almost see from the road. It's behind a church. So as I pulled into the church, I could see it definitely. I already filmed the church. That's a different video. Irish. There is an Irish Hill Road in Shelburne. A lot of Irish is buried in the Shelburne cemeteries I visited. Another little quagmire right here. If you're going to come walk this cemetery, wow, terrible, terrible ground. Thompson. Much easier to read in my viewfinder. Charles D. Thompson, 1878 to 1906. His wife Sarah J. Thompson, and what was that? Gladys, Doretha, 1907. Probably a child. This is an interesting headstone. What is it? I think McDonald is the last name. Yeah. Tombstone down. The base broke away from the top. I've seen this lots. This doesn't seem like the kind of cemetery that would have vandalism. It doesn't appear. I don't think this is vandalism. I really just think the base broke away. The ground is so wet. So wet. But I have no idea whose grave this is. I cannot make that out. Almost. I can almost tell. Maybe you can tell. These would definitely be very likely older headstones. Very wet. These are almost readable. Daniel someone. You see the water right here, can't we? Yep. Not good. Patrick Murray died February something, 1823, age 69 years, and his children Murray, 22, I don't know what the bottom one says, age 20 something, 29 maybe. All right. Ooh, you hear that squish? Maybe not. You just hear that piece of paper in my hands. Well, we see this is a veteran. Which war, sir? Oops. What does that say? What does that say? I cannot make that out. That almost looks like maybe Vietnam. I don't know. This doesn't look 1880. That's not Vietnam. Front. It was Kehoe anyway. Michael Kehoe. Huh. There's a Michael Kehoe's down on Church Street in Burlington. It's a menswear store. Huh. Yeah, 1873. Maybe just as veteran. Maybe that's what it says. Nothing on the backside. Another tombstone down. I've never loved riding lawnmower in here because these look like tire tracks. Looks like the Frosty's got this one, and this one is going to go next. Looks like. Oh, and it broke at the top too. It's such a shame. And oh, this one is not long for standing either. Bissonette. I see a Union soldier buried over here. I see GAR on the little marker. Grand Army of the Republic. Union soldier. Ambrose Bissonette, 2nd Vermont Infantry. Yeah, this land is so wet. It makes sense that all these headstones are just, I mean, the Leaning Tower of Pisa ain't got nothing on this one. I mean, look at that. The devastation here is stunning. Zeno, 1865 to 1884. This headstone is completely missing. Did it go in for repairs? Ooh. And here's an interesting one. I would not want to be near this one when it collapses. That would really hurt. I mean, that could break something. Let's see, I'll walk behind it. I am not going to walk in the rows off of this main walkway because the water has seeped everywhere, and I really don't want to step in all that. And the ground is incredibly uneven. It's almost at par with St. Augustine's cemetery in Montpelier, Vermont. That is the benchmark for awful walking in a cemetery. And this place, wow, really at par with it. And when you see all sorts of stones that have fallen over, this here almost can almost read the name along the top here. Almost. If you are considering perpetual care, cemeteries often have a perpetual care option. And you want to see if your cemetery offers tombstone fixing, because some do. And if that's the case, it may be worthwhile to pay your flat rate in order for your tombstone to be fixed. But you should understand how that works. When people pay in for perpetual care, all the money goes into one account. They use the interest and dividends from those funds for the upkeep and repair. Now, some places, I think it's Charlotte. I've read about a lot of cemeteries recently, as you can imagine. And someplace, the voters pay money, extra money, for them to fix headstones and things. So, good for those voters, because it falls to the living to care for the dead. This whole area, I mean, that is sunk in. But it looks like you could be buried in this section, perhaps. Hard to say. Trees breaking down the fence over there. But I do see another section over to my right, which I may go to check out since I'm here. Little tiny headstones. $10 at a hole in a donut says that those are children's graves. And the tops of that one right there, those two there, they're missing their tops. People paid good money for these monuments, no doubt about that. And kind of lost. I am looking for John Quinlan's grave. He's supposed to have the largest stone here. Oh, I see it. I see it. Little graves here, and this could be ones that say mother, father. They could be children's graves. Wow. This one has definitely seen a better day. Wow. But again, I don't think this is vandalism. I really think it's frost heaves at work. Because we can see this is on its base. The base has been pushed up by a frost heave, which sent this thing sliding and this piece falling off. I don't see how you attached. I don't see adhesive here. I wonder if it's just sitting on there. But even if it has adhesive, even if it has rods from the base into the stone itself, nope, that stuff just doesn't hold. I've seen a lot of broken headstones. So this looks like the newer area. And as I said, I'm pretty sure it's on this website. I saw they have a few more grave plots available. It's so cold, my nose is running. Oh, so who are you? Elizabeth, excuse me, Elizabeth, is that Parker? Oh, the ground is so wet. Let's see if we can see it here. I don't know. And another one with a name marker. Because clearly by now everything is worn off. And this monument is tipping backwards. have to wonder how much longer it's going to be standing upright. But let's take a photo of it whilst it's still standing and not toppling over. And over here we have some veterans. Which war? Oh, U.S. American Legion. And this one here says American Legion. That one says U.S. Another American Legion. Albert short sleeves, Vermont, private. The 8th Company, Company 1. Casual Camp, World War I, 1887 to 1954. Wow. Huh. All right, let's go back. Let's go up here and see about recording the other gentleman. Oops. You can see that people are not visiting because these headstones are starting to get hidden by the grass. And that's such a shame, isn't it? And then this one, oh yeah, 27 to 2015 and 26 to 11, Curtis and Alice St. Peter. And there's a St. Peter over here as well. A family plot. That doesn't say anything on the backside. Well, this concludes part 1 of the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Catholic Cemetery in Charlotte, Vermont. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. I hope the day finds you well. Until I see you again, have a great night. Bye.